Hey everybody, hey Chewbacca. Today there is no book review, it is shameless self-promotion day for the American game. But don't go anywhere, this book is free! You can get it for free from July 1 to July 5. Yes, to celebrate the long 4th of July weekend, I am giving away the American game for free. It's about a baseball game that takes place between enemy soldiers during the Civil War. They stop fighting for a few days, play baseball together, then they have to go back to killing one another. This was a story that I spent 18 years, literally the life of a child growing from baby to adulthood. Yes, I actually knew somebody who grew that much while I was trying to get this thing made into a movie. Didn't ever happen. It went all over Hollywood. It was actually listed as one of the best movies never made. And just, we couldn't get the funds. It just wouldn't work. A lot of people were saying, well, no one wants to see a historical film, even though the top grossing movies are usually either historical or science fiction. Titanic was a little movie you may have heard of, and most Academy Award winners are historical, but for whatever reason they said no. So I ended up just doing it as a book. It actually wound up being quite a bit better as a book. It goes into, I have done a lot of research into the Civil War. It's always been sort of a passion of mine. I'm very fascinated by that period. And it's interesting how baseball really kind of came out of the Civil War. Essentially, it was being played in all different areas. Everybody had kind of their own version of baseball. But the Civil War, when it brought all these people together, they then had to compromise to be able to play the rules together, because this guy from this region would play in one way, this guy from another region would play another way, and that from this region would be another way. And then sometimes when the soldiers were on like a siege or whatever, sometimes the enemies would talk to each other and play cards together, do different things, and play baseball. Actually at that time though, it was called all these different things, but they had to do what their countries were unable to do, or their country was unable to do, whichever you believe in. They compromised. They had to learn to compromise, and that's really the genius of the U.S. It was what our country was literally founded on, was the idea of, rather than having one guy, a king, tell everybody what to do, how about we all talk about it and then come to some sort of compromise. Americans love to say how they're not compromising. Actually, it's what formed our country, and it's literally what formed baseball. The idea is that, everybody had their own version, but then in order to play, they had to come to a compromise to play the game. Then their generals come back and say, now you have to fight each other. These people who learn to compromise, learn to be friends, are forced to go back to shooting at each other. Anyway, it's been a passion of mine. It's been one that I've been doing for a long time. Why am I giving it away for free? A couple reasons. Actually, in some ways, after all these years, and even if I made, no matter how much money I make from it, I'm never going to make enough to justify the 18 years I put into it. So it's a little bit of a joke to go, oh, I made, a few $1,000s on it, what does that come out to the number of hours I, put into trying to make it. So I just want people to see the story. But from a publishing point of view, from a business point of view, this actually does make sense. When you come out with a book, you're wanting to get to as many people as possible. And the number of people who I'm going to reach this video is not going to be the entire audience, but it's going to be enough people that can start murmuring. And basically think of it this way. Say you go to a park. You hear one person talking to himself. Oh, some crazy person walking along. Then you hear like a small crowd. Then you start to kind of listen in. Then the crowd gets a little bit bigger. Now you start going over to them. And the larger of a crowd you can create, the more, it's like gravity. The more people just kind of glom over there. So I'm trying to get enough people just simply to download this so that it starts to get noticed on Amazon and noticed in different places that, oh, hey, there's people over in this crowd over here. There's this murmuring that's going on. It's not just one crazy guy talking. So whether this is something you're interested in or not, even if it's not something necessarily for you, get it for somebody else, download it, send it to somebody, send it to other people, gift it to a lot of people, get one version for yourself. Hell, maybe you'll read it down the road, maybe you'll read it today. It's at the very least, it's not a true story, there's a lot of truth in it. There's a lot of elements from the Civil War. They talk about battles they've actually been to. I talk about battles that they're at, and I describe them, where they are. I describe some of the places that they're going, and some of the characters that are real characters from real history, etc., etc. And like I say, the way they form baseball, even though this specific story didn't happen, this is the type of thing that happened on all these different places all across the country, and it's basically how baseball got formed. So Download it on Kindle. I'm going to put the link down in the little place doobly-doo thing down there. Yeah, download it between July 1 and 4. If you're seeing this video after that point, sorry, I'll probably do another promo at some other point, but just go ahead and buy it. It's not very much. It's like $2 or $3. And, it's something I'm very proud of. It's something I spent a lot of time on, and I'm glad I spent a lot of time on it. Never going to regret that. I think that it's something that was very much worth it. So this is it. The American Game. Check it out on Amazon. Read more independent books, folks.